y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kia Simone, and we got to get into the final installment of the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion. Somebody cue Boys to Men because we have reached the end of the road and I want to hurry up and get down it. Apparently Martell done gone around the Tasha K house. He round there telling everybody business. Now, he might be rogue. He might just be mad with everybody and decided I'm exposing everybody because I'm tired of carrying this by myself. But I would not be surprised if this was some sort of a strategic move. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlos somewhere in the mix telling him, yeah, going down there to Tasha, tell Tasha all that bullshit, and then y'all can come to the show and fight about it. But we'll see. Let's just get into it. Before we do, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Of course, I gotta shout out my super thanksters and cash appers. On the super thanks, thank you so much to Yvette Greer, Lakeisha Toussaint, yep, I said it, and Mr. Sister. And on Cash App, shout out to April and to Lexi's mom, Cornelia Gibson. Thank you so much. Now, child, let's get into this mess because this last installment opened up with Mel and Miss Betty fighting. Mel telling Miss Betty she can get it on the floor wherever she wanted. And for some reason, Stormy, who's always telling people to get active, has found all of her peaceable negotiation skills to deal with Mel as Mel is calling her mama a demon and telling her she can get her ass whooped. Now, you were ready to fight Destiny for less. You were ready to pick a fight with Tisha about a copy and paste policy, but you gonna tell Mel, I like you and I respect you, as a response to her telling your mama she's a demon that can get it wherever they at, girl. Mel was telling Miss Betty to repeat what she said. Miss Betty said, I ain't got to repeat it. You ain't my mama and you ain't my child. Mel said, I don't want to be your child. You around here calling your daughter all kinds of bitches and things. So Stormy responds to this whole back and forth by telling Mel, I like you. I always have. But this tweet situation, I feel like really got out of hand and it could have been reeled back in. Because as you see, Tiffany is leaving, and Tiffany is leaving because this gets overwhelming. She said when you built something and you worked really, really hard to build it, and I mean, you know, because you built this, I wish they would have panned to Carlos. I know Carlos was having a fit in his damn head. She built it. Who are you talking to? Stormy said, I don't know how things disintegrated between me and you, but I don't want it to be made into this thing where it was just about it was because my mama didn't like you, because that's simply not the truth. Miss Betty said, you don't like me and I don't like you. Mel said, I never said I don't like you. Well, you just sat here and called the lady a demon. Now, I'm not saying she's like a bull, but I'm saying own your shit. Mel said, I never said I don't like you, and it's okay if you don't like me. God bless you. Miss Betty said, I don't. Mel said, it's okay. You don't know me to not like me. Shame on you. Shame on you. Be an example. Grow up. You do know ain't no shame in not liking or agreeing with you. You know that, right? So Carlos asked the question, after all this bullshit, where do y'all stand? Stormy said, well, even after everything that's happened today, I respect y'all. Y'all have really done some amazing What? Well, since there's no resolution to this bullshit, they move on to the rest of Stormy's dysfunction, which is her family, starting with hiring her cousin. So they asked about the state of the relationship between Stormy and her cousin Junior. Junior's sitting up there with every Air Force wing they could find on his damn suit lapels. He is dressed and ready for this damn reunion. He said working for your family has its ups and downs, and he feels like maybe he took advantage of some of the ups, and he apologizes for that. But at the end of the day, he had to move on to do what was best for him. So he found him another job working for somebody else. Next thing you know, Stormy is tearing up, and so Carlos asked her, well, what you crying for? She says, well, you know, it's just that he's the manager at the restaurant, and I wish you could have been a manager at Canvas. Girl, I know you lying. You done sat up and called whole staff meeting with your husband about how Junior was the entire problem with all of your logistics and order fulfillment. And now you crying on this reunion stage. I wish you could have been the manager. Stormy mama don't buy the bullshit either. She's sitting there shaking her damn head. You know she ain't got no damn emotions by nothing. I don't give a damn if you cry today, but you better not hire his ass tomorrow. She over there mumbling by, no, he need to stay where he at. So then Carlos moves on to the beef between Stormy's mom and Stormy's aunt. He said Aunt Lisa was invited to the reunion, but she told him, hell no, I'm going to stay home with my husband. He asked Miss Betty what is the state of their relationship currently, and she said, well, it's pretty much the same place that it was before, but at the end of the day, she's still my sister. So Carlos asked Miss Betty, would you like to see the issues between you and your sister mended? She said, I would like to, if they could be. He said, well, what's stopping it? She said, did you watch the same show I watched? She said, I tried with her. I can't mend nothing by myself. You saw that lady tell me on TV, I'm not her damn sister. So what am I supposed to do if she don't want to mend stuff? Carlos said, well, I'm sure sorry to hear that. And I hope y'all can follow Stormy and Junior's lead at some point. But I understand what you're saying. It takes two to tango, and then she ain't trying to tango with yours. So then we move on to the Chris and Nell segment. Carlos starts the segment by playing the package of all their family dysfunction. And he said that originally, Nell wasn't too keen on being on this reality show. And he asked her why. She said, you just played why. You saw all that damn dysfunction. She said, our family's a mess. We got some issues, and I wasn't keen on putting a spotlight on those issues and putting them on TV. Yeah, you need to take them off the TV and put them in a therapist's office. Carlos said, of course, because their children are grown people, we don't really get to see their dynamic with their kids as much. But he asked, how is the dynamic since the show? Well, Nell starts explaining that it's gotten a little bit better, that she and her son Chris are talking more, that she's not putting as much emphasis on money, if that's going to be the breaking point in their relationship. Nell said, but from her perspective, the issue is that she's always loaning out large sums of money to her children. She tells them it's a loan, but her son doesn't like to be called out. She said her son tends to feel like they don't need the money. She said that's not necessarily true because they still have bills too. But she's just made the decision to not put as much pressure on him about money. She said, especially if it's going to cause us to not speak, just pay me when you get it because I'm still your mom and I still love you. And my thing is this, I don't want anybody to think that, oh, I'm telling you, you should bankrupt yourself for your children. I understand that you have to take care of you, that there are limits, that you have to have boundaries. I understand all of that. But when you know that your child was on one path and one trajectory and they got the rug snatched from under them, you have a responsibility to help them find their way. It drives me nuts when people treat their children like unwanted homework, like, okay, I did the 18, leave me alone. That drives me up a wall. So when you see the child struggling to figure out life and how do I get to a place where I can figure out what I want to do in a career and I can get myself financially stable and I don't have to borrow no money from you, because trust me, it is a very humbling thing for children, adult children, to have to come to their parents and ask them for anything. So I don't think he wants to be in that position, but if I don't know how to get myself out of this position, the parents are going to be the first line of defense that they look to. So I get where Nell is coming from in terms of we don't have a money tree in the backyard. We don't have an endless supply of money. But my thing is just meet your child somewhere in the middle. Now, what I found interesting is after they answered this question by discussing the relationship with the son, Chris, Carlos moved right along to the infidelity conversation. I said, well, wait a minute now, because we watched them have a whole breakdown and a whole child that stomped off, and ain't nobody asked what's the status of that relationship. And speaking of, I want to address that a few weeks ago, Lexi did leave a comment and said, thank you for seeing me. And I just want to take a moment to say that made everything worth it. Because as Stormy said, this can be a lot. This here drive you to drink malt liquor. But for her to say, thank you for seeing me, meant the entire world to me. It made everything worth it, because child, it wasn't for a minute. You are seen, and I would like to have seen a conversation about what has happened since that all went down. So Carlos think he's slick. He slides into the infidelity conversation through the Black Expo door. He said, y'all raised hell about Tasha and Marcel not putting y'all on the lineup for the Black Expo. Why was that? Chris said, well, because we're business owners and we've been business owners in Huntsville for over 30 years. We own multiple businesses and we're friendly with everybody on the stage. So why would we be left out? Nell said, and Tasha was the one who said she was going to make sure to invite us. And my issue is if you said you're going to do it, make sure it gets done. Tasha's so damn shady. Tasha said, well, when I saw them at the girls' birthday party, I did say that I would invite Chris. But in the planning and getting everything together, I was so focused on the core six that I forgot. Chris said, so is Stormy and Courtney part of the core six? Because how didn't you forget them? Tasha said, no, it's not that Stormy and Courtney are part of the core six, but I do talk to Stormy all the time. So in talking to her all the time and talking about her business, she's at the front of my mind. So of course I'm thinking to invite her. But y'all, I don't have a relationship with y'all. I don't talk to y'all to be thinking about inviting y'all. Y'all are out of sight, out of mind. Here's my thing. I'm trying to understand just how close these relationships actually are. Because we saw the episode where Nell was doing a back to school drive that she said she's been doing for years, and Mel didn't know nothing about it, but they've been supposedly friends for years, and she's going to go on to say later in this reunion how they counseled them for years. Now, Tasha and Marcel are saying they didn't know she had a daycare that she done had for damn near long as they've been alive. So how well do these people really know each other? Like, what's going on? So because they cannot handle accountability, that's just too much for their damn marriage. Marcel takes the baton and he starts trying to make it Chris's fault that they didn't honor their word. He said that Chris came by black one day and he came in some cleaning truck or something. I don't know, child. Marcel said, he asked Chris, well, who cleaning truck you and what is this? Chris said, oh, that's mine. I got a cleaning company. He said, well, how long you had that? Chris said, well, I've had this company for a minute now. Marcel said, oh, so you a real estate broker and you got a cleaning company. And I think that it's sexist of him to have not corrected me in that moment and said, well, my wife got a business too. I just what? Well, Carlos used Marcel's hypocrisy to segue right into the infidelity conversation. He said, Tasha, when y'all went to dinner with the Fletchers and you asked the Fletchers about experiencing infidelity in their marriage, what made you do that? Tasha said, well, anybody watching this show for any period of time knows that I have to get shit off my chest. I ask questions when they come to my mind and I wanted to know, so I asked. In response to Tasha's answer, Carlos says, so how did you find out your husband was cheating on you now? Nell looked absolutely shocked because what? Marcel said, welcome to the reunion. Yeah, dirt and drama is the brand. So Nell finally broke down and answered the question. She said, someone told me. Carlos said, did the other woman tell you? Like, why are you so turned on by people's marital drama? I don't understand. Nell said, no, I don't think another woman would have been crazy enough to approach me. I know that's right. Crazy as you is with your family, I know you hail on a stranger. Nell said somebody essentially brought the information to her. She went to Chris with it. Chris tried to deny it. She backed him up in a corner. He had to admit it, and the rest is history. So now Carlos want to know, well, Chris, how many women did you cheat with? Was it multiple women? Chris said no. Was it one woman? If it ain't multiple, how many options you got? Chris asked Nell, did y'all have a separation after this? Nell said, of course. For how long? About 18 months. And you can hear him trying to just figure out follow-up questions because this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. The premise of this show is not supposed to be infidelity in marriages. It's not supposed to be what was the lowest point in your marriage. I thought the whole premise of this show was supposed to be successful couples who were successful personally and professionally being showcased on a reality show. Now, naturally, if you got humans in a situation, you got drama in a situation, so it was going to come with the package. But this has spiraled down into an abyss of implosive marriages. Carlos says, so what made you find a place in your heart to forgive your husband? Nell said, because I loved him. Love make you do all kind of crazy shit. So he brings up the fact that we met the Fletchers through Mel and Martell, and that they used to counsel Mel and Martell, and they were adamant about Mel and Martell working out their issues. And is that why? Because of what you were going through? Are they going through it, or is it something they went through in the past that you're trying to dig up like a dog with a bone? But Nell said yes, because they had relevant marital experience, she figured that they could help the whole. She said she could tell that they loved each other, and she felt like she saw a lot of Fletcher and Martell. She said the cockiness, the arrogance, the loving to dress. She said Fletcher used to be a lot like Martell, and I told Martell that his arrogance is going to cost him his family. Well, you know, part of the reason he probably does not believe that, because he sees y'all as an example. Because he sees Chris, who is so much like him, or who he models himself after. He done went out and did whatever he wanted to do, and his marriage survived, so why not mine? Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong for salvaging their marriage or choosing to work through that, but I think he thought he had a nail in Mel. I think he thought it was a situation where she loved me. She loved this marriage. She want this family, so she gonna put up with this. Well, here came Carlos with his cameras and a check to clear all that. So they moved to discuss the Houston trip, and Carlos said the biggest question they got was, who was the woman that Martell brought into the house after hours? Child. He said it was a massage therapist. Somebody came to give him a massage. Carlos said, well, where did you get her massage? In the, like, where did you find her? He get the stutter, and Tasha said, well, was it a massage with a happy ending? This said, I don't remember. What? Now, he gonna probably say he's talking about he don't remember where he found this lady, but no, you talk about that damn happy ending. Carlos said, well, how long was she there? Martell said about an hour and a half. Carlos said, oh, that's all you need? He said, yeah, I get the job done in about, she get the job done in about an hour and a half, yeah. Carlos said, did you have sex with her? Martell said, no. Well, what did y'all do? A massage. I said, what kind of spat is this? Carlos sounded like he done going through your phone. Mel said, well, where was the lady's massage bed when she came in? Martell said, my bed. Mel said, it don't work like that. A real massage therapist comes with their bed folded up. They unfold it, prop it up, and they do their job on their equipment. I don't know nobody come rubbing you down in your bed. Martell is such a child. He over there making faces about, well, I didn't ask to see her license. I didn't care about all that. Yeah, as long as the ending is happy. So Carlos asked the group, primarily the ladies, do you feel like it was disrespectful for Martell to bring this woman in the house? Nell said, I felt like it was absolutely disrespectful. Marcel said, yeah, I thought it was disrespectful too. Yeah, just because you can't do it. Kimmy said, I really don't give a damn. These two people elected to no longer be together, so what each of them do is each of their business. Nell said, I get that they've moved on, but I still feel like it was disrespectful for him to bring a woman in that house on our trip. Girl, ma'am, if he were in a relationship, if he had a girlfriend, if he had a wife, would it be disrespectful for him to bring his partner? Like, is he not supposed to move on? Let me tell you something. This mentality is how you end up spending your life pining away for a man. When you choose to go through a divorce, when you choose to end a relationship, a part of your process should be releasing the relationship so that you're no longer out here trying to control somebody you no longer even have a connection to. So Carlos asked, well, Mel, did you invite anyone to your quarters? She said, no, it was a trip with friends. Kimmy said, well, didn't you get a massage too? And if she did, it would be her prerogative, just like Martell. Leave us alone. But Mel said, yes, I did get a massage. A lady came to the house and massaged me. So wait a minute. A lady can come to the house and massage you. But if a lady comes to the house and massage Martell, oh my God, he done disrespected everybody. So Martell asked the group, does anybody have a problem with Mel having a lady come to the house to give her a massage? Nell said, no, I don't see anything wrong with it. This is your damn problem. Martell says, you feel no kind of way about her inviting somebody. Nell said, it was a woman. He said, but when I invited a woman, it was disrespectful. Mel said, well, that's because nobody believes that it was a massage therapist. Nobody actually believes that. Nobody should give a damn. Martell said, I don't give a damn about none of that. For all we know, her and the woman had some kind of sexual interaction. Carlos said, with a woman? Martell said, hell yeah, what do you do? Every once and again, Martell said some shit you cannot argue with. Just what? So Carlos asked Martell, why is it that he gets so upset when Nell defends Melody? He said, well, because when she's coming at me about something I've done years ago, at this point, it offends me. Not only because it was years ago, but also because I know what Melody did. So now you back to saying she cheated. He said, so stop coming at me. Go talk to her. I told you she cheated on me just like I cheated on her. So leave me alone. Nell said, you cheated for 5 years though. Martell said, that don't matter. Nell said, so if she did cheat, give her a damn pass since you did it for 5 years. Martell said, now that's some bullshit. Y'all wouldn't say that about a man. You were ready to kill Chris, but he cheated. Nell said, but is he dead though? Now, what kind of answer that is, I don't know, but okay. So Carlos asked the question. He said, how many years had y'all been married at the point that Melody cheated on you? Martell said, I think 6 or 7 years into the marriage. Ain't that when you cheated? Mel said something about 2014, 2015. She starts giggling. He said, what's funny? Mel said, where do you get this stuff from? Do you just pull it out of the air? Martell said, but you admit that you cheated while we were married. Mel said, I've never seen anyone so concerned with a vagina that doesn't belong to them anymore. Mel, girl, y'all just had a whole back and forth dialogue about whether this man potentially slept with this massage therapist, and you talking about who is worried about genitalia that don't belong to them. Martell said, well, if that's the case, I ain't never cheated on you either, damage. Carlos said, you know what? We've been arguing about this for 6 years. Let's move on. Mel said, no, this is what I want to know from him. Where's the proof? Yeah, you don't want to let this conversation die because your storyline is going to get buried with it. So Mel tells Martell he's the biggest liar. You done lied to everybody on this stage. That's what Martell about lost it. He said, now one damn thing you ain't gonna call me as a liar. What am I lying about? I had conversations with you for a year before I did anything. So what am I lying about? Mel said, you know what, Carlos, just go ahead. So Carlos brings up to Chris that a lot of the viewers feel like you allowed Martell to speak to your wife disrespectfully. What do you have to say about that? He basically said, I look at Mel and Martell like a brother and a sister. So when Nell and Martell get to arguing arguing and carrying on. I see it like a brother and a sister arguing and carrying on. So Mel ain't satisfied with that. She jumps in to instigate and said, well, I've had the conversation with Chris even privately to tell him that I feel like it was totally disrespectful. I don't care how close we get. I don't care what Chris might be saying to me. I don't care what Miss Nail says to me. I'm never gonna disrespect them. It's out of order. It's out of place. And you don't try to not disrespect your friend's spouse. You just don't. When Martell is talking to a lady, if he can't control himself, he should walk away. They are our elders and they have been good friends to us. And girl, you just told this girl mama she can get it on the floor. And that ain't the first mama you've been willing to run up on. But now, all of a sudden, they're your elders. You couldn't keep your own composure at their house. You went round to them people's house yelling, carrying on, tearing up the dishes, disturbing the peace in the neighborhood. Marceau said, oh, they're your elders. Nell said, well, I look damn good to be an elder. Mel said, I mean, what she does, they both do. Girl, go to hell. So Carlos asked Martell, do you feel like you owe Nell an apology? He said, yeah, I feel like we owe each other an apology. Nell said, no, you walked up on me. He said, well, Nell, I apologize for walking up on you, okay? So Nell accepted the apology and Carlos said, well, Martell, was that hard for you to do? He said, no, it wasn't hard at all. But I do feel like if we're having a disagreement and a woman raises her voice and a man in response raises his voice, it shouldn't be that, oh, the man is disrespectful because he raised his voice, but the woman isn't. Martell said, I feel like that's a woman overstepping her boundaries. Marceau come in with the alley-oop, say, yeah, and then they play the woman card. Nell said, wait a minute, we have a voice too, and I speak for all women. Martell said, of course you do. She said, so what do you mean a woman overstepping her boundaries? Now, the way Martell says it, it does come off misogynistic, it does come off chauvinist because he kind of has that air. But for me, the point in general is that everybody is due respect. So you give the respect that you expect to receive. You don't talk to people in a way that you don't want them to talk to you. So if you don't want to be yelled at, don't yell at me. And I understand that because people use different relationship dynamics to manipulate and get away with being able to disrespect people. Martell said, what I mean is, why is it okay for you to get in my face and decide to yell at me? He said, I talked to Chris. I had a conversation with Chris about, man, hey, look, your wife yelling at me. And you know what Chris said? Chris said, that's just how my wife is. I know how she is. She act like that with the kids. She act like that with me. She gonna act like that with you. Nell said, no, Nell minds her own business until you with Nell. Martell said, no, you didn't mind your own business because you was all up in my business. Nell said, no, you brought your business to me. You couldn't keep your business in your house and y'all brought your business to us. Martell said, well, not that particular day we didn't. Just so Martell and Nell mend fences and we move on back to crazy as Kiki. Just Lord. So they started off the Tasha and Kiki segment by asking Tasha, did she feel disrespected and blindsided by Kiki being invited to the trip in Houston? She said, of course I did, because I made it very clear that me and this girl weren't getting along. She has disrespected me and they just invited her anyway. So Carlos asked Kiki, knowing that you had just thrown a drink in your cousin's face, why was it so important to you to come on this trip? Did you want to come to make things right? This fool said, well, no, it's not really that I wanted to make things right, but I wanted to amend for the wrong I had done. Just what? She said, I wanted to own that it was wrong to throw a drink on my cousin or anybody, so I wanted to make amends for that. But I also wanted to go to Texas. I wanted to go to Houston and have a good time. Well, maybe you could make you some friends of your own and go do some shit with them. So Carlos asked Nell, well, Nell, why was it important to you for Kiki to be there? She said it wasn't. She said, when Kiki called me about coming on the trip, I told her what I thought made the most sense would be for her to wait till we came back, have the conversation, and make whatever apologies and amends she needs to make once we come back. But she gonna do whatever she want to do. So Carlos posed the question to Tasha, based on where y'all are, would you say that this relationship is dead? Tasha said, absolutely, take it to the cemetery. So Carlos asked, well, how does y'all's family feel about where y'all are? Tasha said, well, I actually just spoke to my uncle the other day and he said what they always say, y'all just need to talk. Y'all need to work this out. Y'all are first cousins. Tasha said, my family is saying stuff like y'all shouldn't be doing this to one another, but I ain't did nothing to her. This ain't me. I didn't cause this and I'm not fixing it and I don't blame her. You know, some people think that because you will be related forever, that you will be in relationship forever. And it does not work that way. As Tasha said, I get to choose who I have relationship with. I get to choose the people that are in my life and in my circle. And I am not going to choose somebody who is abusive and disrespectful and destructive because you are related to me. So Carlos brought up to Kiki that the public's perception is that she used her relationship with Tasha to get a spot on the show, and then she chose the show over Tasha. Kiki said, that's not what I did. That's not anything near what I did. Kiki said, as a matter of fact, the plan was always for both of us to be on this show. It was supposed to be me and her. And then once she got on the show, she changed up. Tasha said, no, it ain't that I changed up. It's that I got good sense. She said, I know this girl, and I didn't think it was a good idea for her to be on the show with her dealing with everything that she's dealing with. She said she has a lot of issues and everything ain't even come out yet. I ain't gonna be the one to bring it out. But if I were her and I had the issues she had, I wouldn't want to be on a TV show because the she got going on, for it to get exposed, can destroy her family. But since she insists on being on this damn TV show, whatever comes up, comes out, and it ain't my problem, it's on her. Kiki said, well, I ain't got but two things going on. I ain't hiding a bunch of stuff. One thing was the drug use, me popping pills. Carlos said, okay, that's one. What's two? She said, and number two is the infidelities within my marriage. I mean, it goes deep. Everybody is looking around like, girl, if you don't cut the bush. And it does. It goes deep, it's a lot. You can hear the sheer joy and excitement in her voice about spilling her own damn tea. This lady is excited to tell all the drama and trauma in her marriage. The problem is, ma'am, we don't give a damn. She said those are the only two things that could possibly come out about my life. And my thing is, why do you not have enough consideration for your school-aged children that you would not jump your ass on a TV show, knowing that you are living in an Olympic-sized pool of dysfunction to embarrass the dog shit out of them? Well, Martell with the shit. Martell said, well, that ain't what Marceau said. Marceau said this one other major thing, and that ain't it. Kiki said, well, it's a lie. Well, how you know? They ain't saying what it is yet. How you know it's a lie? Well, she must have thought about that as she's screaming it's a lie, because she said, well, what is it? Please tell it. Marceau looked around for a second, and he said, well, Carlos, let the record reflect that Marceau has never introduced any new information about anybody on this show. Tasha said, yeah, it ain't our story to tell, and we ain't gonna tell it. Kiki said, you know what? My life is my life, and I have nothing to be ashamed of. They're looking around like nothing to be ashamed of. No, it ain't that you have nothing to be ashamed of. It's that you have no shame. Carlos said, well, would you like to reconcile your relationship with Tasha? She said, of course, who wouldn't? Tasha said she couldn't. She want me to divorce my husband. It is beyond a mind screw to be sitting over there in that psych ward of a marriage trying to attack somebody else's. You have to be nuts. And then turn around and say, well, yes, of course, I would love for us to reconcile. You need to go take your medicine. Tasha said, you sitting up here talking this shit about, yeah, I want us to reconcile. I want us to have a relationship. But you done said all this bullshit about me. So you sit up and say all this shit and then turn around, but girl, I love you and I want us to work this out. Get the out of here with that. I think Kiki thinks she's a Teddy Ruxpin or something that somebody outside of herself controls. Because this jackass said, well, one of the things she knows about me is that when I'm hurt, I go for the jugular. And that's not a good thing. I recognize that about myself. But when I'm angry, I find it difficult to not go low. Well, you need to go get help. Carlos said, well, I will say that it saddens me to see y'all at this place. But Tasha, you look like you pretty much damn done. You look pretty adamant about this relationship being over. But I do hope that y'all can overcome this for the sake of your daughters who are friends. Tasha said, that's the only thing that bothers me is that our daughters are best friends. And when my daughter is asking about, well, can I go to their house? I have to make up excuses. Carlos said, well, I would like to see y'all work on it by giving it some time, but not allowing your issues to affect the relationship between your daughters. Marcel said, well, we don't allow the issues to affect their relationship, but she does. Marcel said, we make it very clear that her children are welcome. They can come over. But on the other hand, she's over there saying, no, don't talk to them. Tasha said, yeah, she went so far as to block my daughter's number. Kiki starts screeching and screaming, but I never did that. Carlos said, we moving on. We moving on because I don't want to drag the kids into this, and your ass is crazy. That's what he really wanted to say. Kiki thinks she got her a moment. She's screaming, I've never done that in my life, ever. What are you talking about? Carlos over there, Kiki. Yeah, I bet you'll be doing mental evaluations from now on, won't you? So we move on from one dysfunctional relationship to the next. Carlos brings up the issue of Tasha taking a pregnancy test, even though her husband has a vasectomy. Carlos asked her, well, why would you feel the need to take a pregnancy test knowing that your husband had a vasectomy that he got on camera? She said, well, because like I told Kimmy, I've been pregnant before, so I know what it feels like. And what I was feeling felt like pregnancy. So it made sense to me to take a pregnancy test. Marisol says, so the first thought to come to your mind when I have a 0.2% chance of getting you pregnant is that you're pregnant. And you can tell they think they're doing their good acting. They are so proud of themselves. Tisha said, but I didn't hide it from you. I didn't hide it from you. I mean, if I had stepped out, I would have never said anything to you. So Carlos asked Marisol, well, when she first mentioned that she might be pregnant, was your first thought that she might have stepped out on you? Marisol said, that was my only thought. He said, well, do you think Tisha is capable of stepping out on you? He said, do she have lady parts? Yeah. Tisha pretending to be shy. What? They just, Lord, that's why Martell going to tell all your business right now. Tisha said, well, if you feel like that and you married and you don't have trust, then I don't know why we here. Mel said, that's right. Carlos said, well, Marisol, Tisha has had your back amongst all the accusations of you cheating, and she wouldn't even believe you cheated unless God came down and told her to her face. Tisha said, no, I said unless somebody came to me with proof. Here's the thing, y'all are conflating issues. It's not that Tisha does not believe that Marisol has or may have cheated on her. It's not that Tisha hasn't had concrete proof that Marisol either has or may have cheated on her. The issue is I'm not taking it from you, motherfuckers. I'm not going to let you come tell me what's going on in my marriage, and I'm leaving my husband because you said so. That's what it is. Marisol said, yeah, that's all well and good. She had my back. She stood 10 toes down. But if the tables were turned and I came to Tisha and I said, yeah, Tisha, some lady out here saying I fathered her child. Well, I went and took a blood test. It ain't my baby. We ain't got to worry about it. Tisha said, I'll be gone. Marisol said, exactly. Because what would be the point of me taking a test? If I never laid up with this lady, what the hell is I'm taking a blood test for? Tisha said, they ain't the same, but just go ahead, Marisol. Carlos said, well, at the end of the day, you're not pregnant. Tisha said, no, I guess I just been eating good. Martell said, well, you're wearing it well. Mel said, well, if she was pregnant, were you going to leave her? Well, what in the hypothetical hell is you? What? Marisol said, yes. Tisha said, good. At least we on the same page. One band, one sound. Mel over there looking like, ooh, I hope she get pregnant. I have never seen a woman so fixated on seeing another woman fall. Carlos asked some question to the ladies about if Tisha stepped out on Marisol, would she be justified? All of them looking at him like, what are you talking about? They said, why would that be okay? He said, well, I mean, the people on Twitter were saying that because of everything that Marisol has been accused of, Tisha would be well within her right to step out. Well, the people on Twitter are morally corrupt and bankrupt. You do know that there are more options than cheat back. Leaving is an option too, and it's a damn good one. If you can find somebody to cheat with, you can find somebody to be with. All this bunch of cheat back, you don't know what you're going to bring back to your house. Cut the shit. So now they're getting ready to wrap up this reunion. They go to break. Everybody's getting their little touch-ups. And Kiki is just having a moment. She talking to Marisol across the stage about you one lying bitch, you know. You know that bro. Carlos said, who you talking to? She said, of course not you. Carlos said, oh. She said to Marisol, what's all this street walking you talking about? You know you came and picked me up twice. Marisol is just looking at her like, this fool is absolutely unhinged. Now she talking to Marisol. Marisol staring at her. She said, don't look at me, bitch. This bitch is nuts. Marisol said, well, come get me. Tisha said, yeah, I bet you won't cross this line. You crossed it one time, and that's the only time you won't get him a bust your ass. Kiki said, you don't know me. Actually, they do. That's the problem. Marisol said, Carlos, I feel unprotected. This is a hostile work environment. So Carlos wraps up the reunion by saying it's their best thus far, that he's so excited that everybody came with good energy. Mel actually talked this year. Martell didn't fall asleep. Maurice had things to say. I said, if mediocrity were a standard. Now, Carlos acts like he has some big announcement to make to close out the reunion, and he said something about the DNA results came back and Chris and Courtney are not cousins. Child, I forgot they even did that bullshit. He said, and then we have another announcement that the results came back that Maurice is a millimeter. They all falling out laugh. I mean, just the biggest, fakest laughs you can find. I said, oh, they ain't got their last check yet. Well, he thanked all the extras, the core six, and they closed this reunion. Thank God. This show has stressed me from here to hell. I'm just glad that it's over. I thank every single one of y'all who have shown up to watch every review. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Now I'm going to go around here and try to see what Martell around the Tasha K house talking about. And then I'm going to ride on around the Bravo and see what the hell they got going on with all their colorist drama. Just skirt. But that's it. That's all. And I ain't got no more. Thank you so much for coming down here and listening to me and letting me get this off my chest every single week, or or whenever I get the reviews uploaded. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And in the meantime, until next time, just like every time, I love you and I mean it. Bye.